Thank you for choosing this story. We hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's begin. The jungle is not made of earth and air, but of a green, humid malice. It is a suffocating green cloak woven from vines and fever, and every step I take is a gamble with the devil himself. I don't know how long I've been running. 10 minutes, an hour. Time has melted into the same thick, hot syrup as the air I breathe. My breastplate, once the glorious symbol of Castilian might, is now a brazen coffin, baking my flesh. It is too late to shed it now. The heavy obsidian-tipped axes of the Aztec could find my heart too easily. Suddenly I hear the loud, ominous beat of Aztec war drums. The drumbeat is the terrifying heartbeat of this cursed land, and it is beating for my death. It is close, too close. It does not sound like a distant ritual. It sounds like it's following the track I'm making through the sodden undergrowth of this cursed jungle. I am Don Rafael de Valencia, and I fear this death more than any Moorish blade that I had faced back in Spain. I had split from the main column 3 days ago, a fool's errand led by Lieutenant Vargas to investigate a rumor of a minor, lightly guarded temple treasure cache. By the grace of God, we had found the gold and sent the 4 Aztec warriors, guarding it back to their heathen god. May God rest their souls. We were celebrating, drunk on our quick fortune, when the scream came, a hawk-like cry of pure, murderous rage. I was scouting the flank just 50 yards away, and I saw the feathered hell descend as Aztec warriors poured out of the jungle. I watched in horror as my fellow conquistadors were massacred by either being beaten to death by the razor-sharp obsidian-tipped clubs the Aztec warriors favored, or being struck by arrows. I didn't fight. I ran. My lungs are screaming. The noise I make thrashing through the vines and ferns must be a beacon to them. My leather boots are soaked, and I slip on the slimy root of a tree as thick as a man's torso. I tumble, struggling to keep my rapier clutched in my hand. God help me. The stench of their pursuit is in the air, earth, sweat, and the sharp, coppery smell of the sacrifices they had surely performed before tracking me. I heave myself up, adrenaline and the stark fear of the obsidian sacrificial knife lending me strength. I must find water. I must find cover. The shadows here are only shallow deceptions. They own the jungle's heart. The air tastes like dirt and blood. I am tearing at the vines now, moving less by sight and more by instinct, pushing deeper into the thickest tangle of vines, hoping my steel armor catches less on the branches than their ornamental feathers that might keep me ahead of them. I hear a shout. It's not the sharp, ceremonial barks I heard earlier, but an excited cry. They have seen my trail. My blood curdles at the sound, and the pure animal instinct of survival kicks in. I force myself to a painful halt behind the enormous fluted trunk of a tree. I drop to one knee, trying to control the ragged gasps that I feel are loud enough to alert the whole forest. I try to wipe the grime from my eyes, but my hands are shaking violently. My mind races back to Tenochtitlan. I remember the skull racks. I remember the grim stories of the priests tearing out the hearts of our captured men, holding the pulsing organ up to their hideous painted gods. That is why I ran. That is why I discard my dignity, dropping my crested helmet into the mud, letting my head be bare to the baking sun. I need silence. I need speed. I need to avoid the stone of sacrifice. I risk a look back. Nothing but a wall of green. But then a flash of red and green mosaic, the back of a high feathered headdress, moving swiftly and silently where I just struggled. There are at least 4 of them, maybe 5. They wear quilted cotton armor, light and quick, while I am a walking oven of iron. I close my eyes and pray the Ave Maria, the words a dry, desperate whisper on my tongue. The prayer is a thin shield, easily pierced by the sound of the approaching footsteps. I have maybe 100 yards on them. I choose my direction not for safety, but for desperation, towards a small, rocky outcropping I saw earlier when we were scouting. If I can reach higher ground, perhaps I can fight on my own terms. I begin a frantic, low crawl, slipping my rapier into the mud so it doesn't clang against a stone. The outcropping is a lie. It was not a hill, but the collapsed, moss-eaten wall of an ancient temple, too old even for these heathens. It isn't a very large temple, but it offers a dark, narrow crevice beneath a ruined lintel. A temporary grave. I slip inside, scraping the skin off my elbows and shoulders. The space is barely wide enough for my frame. I pull a flat, heavy slab of rock down as a crude door, leaving just a sliver of sight line to the jungle floor. The moment I stop, I realize how thirsty I am. My thirst is a physical pain, a hook clawing at my throat. I am shaking not from fear now, but from dehydration. I hear them halt. They are arguing in their guttural, clicking language, just feet from my hiding place. They sound like hunters discussing their quarry. I can see the feet of one, bare, calloused, silent. He wears heavy jade anklets. He is a noble, a seasoned warrior, not just a common soldier. This fills me with fresh dread. He is probably a jaguar warrior, the elite of their fighting order, and a terrifying, determined, deadly foe to face. I slowly, meticulously draw my dagger, making sure to make no noise. My rapier is too long to use in this tiny space. I can smell the damp earth, the rotting leaves, and something else. A clean, metallic scent. Blood, perhaps. Or perhaps just the sheer, overpowering smell of their paint. A shadow falls across the opening. One of them is staring directly at the stone I used to block the entrance. My heart hammers so violently, I am sure it will betray me. I hold my breath until black spots bloom behind my eyes. I can hear the warrior shift his weight. He is testing the air, the way a wolf tests a breeze. He raises his voice, a challenging, mocking tone. I don't understand the words, but the meaning is clear. We know you are close, Christian dog. He kicks the ground near my stone, a sharp, angry sound, and then slowly moves on. The footsteps fade, swallowed by the jungle noise. It might be a false retreat. They might be circling, waiting for me to betray my position. I wait 5 full minutes, which feel like an eternity carved from stone. The drumbeat has changed. It's faster now, more insistent, a frantic roll rather than a slow, terrifying cadence. I can't wait here to be smoked out or cornered. I must move. I push the stone aside with a groan of effort. The light is blinding. I emerge, crouching low, and see movement. Not behind me, but to my left. They are fanning out to cut me off from what must be the main river. The river. I can hear the rushing water now. If I can reach the fast current, I might yet lose them. I bolt. This is the final charge, the last of my physical reserve. I sprint, discarding my heavy gauntlets, and finally, my cumbersome, blood-rusted steel breastplate. Let them have the metal. I need the freedom. I burst into a clearing and see a small, muddy bank. And there it is, the river, brown and powerful, churning with debris. But the bank is not empty. 2 warriors, their bodies painted like jaguars, stand between me and the water. They are magnificent and terrifying, holding their deadly clubs studded with razor-sharp obsidian. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I bellow, my voice a cracked, desperate, pathetic sound. The closest one raises his weapon, the other screams and lunges. I dodge the first swing of the obsidian club, the air parting with a cruel, hungry sound. The club misses my head by a hair, but my arm is caught by a hanging vine, causing me to stumble. The second warrior is upon me. I don't aim. I thrust my rapier straight out in a desperate, low movement. The rapier, crafted from the finest Spanish Toledo steel and years of practice, finds a gap in his quilted armor. I feel a sickening resistance, a dull thud, and then the blade sinks in. The warrior stops, his eyes wide with shock, the ferocious mask of his face melting into pain. I yank the sword free with a wet, terrible sound and shove his collapsing body into the path of his comrade. It buys me 1 second. I turn and leap, not diving, but simply falling into the muddy, churning depths of the river. The water is cold shock, a sudden, blinding baptism. I sink immediately, the weight of my remaining armor, heavy sword, and leather boots dragging me down. I kick frantically, fighting the current, fighting the weight. I surface, gagging, sucking in water and air. Thanks be to God I could swim as I had grown up in Cadiz, Spain, and had learnt to swim in the ocean as a boy. From the bank I hear a final enraged yell and the sound of something striking the water where I had been moments before. I let the current take me. I roll onto my back, the surface of the river, a blur of jungle debris and sky. My body is numb, my lungs burning, but the sound of the hunting drums is, finally, mercifully, being drowned out by the roar of the water. The jungle has swallowed them. For now the river has saved me, but the current is strong and I am weak. I close my eyes, hoping I float to freedom, knowing that the empire of the Aztec runs deep, and the relentless hunt may not yet be over. I feel something bump into me. It is a large-sized wooden log, and I cling to it. I drift toward the unknown, clinging to my faith and to the bitter taste of survival. This temporary respite brings my mind back to my childhood and the choices I made in life that had led me to this desperate state I find myself in. I was born in Cadiz, Spain, to parents that were in a state of constant poverty. Life was hard, but it got much worse when the plague took both my parents. I struggled as an orphan, and when I was old enough, I joined the king's army with almost no other choice, apart from a life of abject poverty or crime. I took part in many engagements and became an experienced soldier, adept at all the skills that come with that role. When the war ended, I found myself unemployed, but the discovery of the New World opened a new avenue as a conquistador, a soldier of fortune where a poor man could become rich. A mosquito bites my face and it snaps me back to my dire situation. The water is cold, a shock that keeps the fear from claiming me entirely. I cling to the log, not with the strength of a soldier, but with the weak, panicked grip of a drowning man. It is only my faith in God that floats me, that, and the blessed, rushing current of the river, which I pray is salvation, not just a faster way to hell. I keep my eyes low, watching the muddy, swirling surface. Above, the green wall of the jungle is an unbroken threat. Every shadow is a painted face, every snapping twig a drawn bowstring. I still taste the copper of the blood from my recent escape from the heathen savages. I run my hand over my thigh where I feel a dull pain and discover a small gash in my thigh. It's not a big problem, but in this jungle environment, even a small wound can get infected quickly and kill you. I would need to stop soon and rest on a riverbank to address it. My mind brings back vivid memories of the Aztecs, those devil worshippers, who would sacrifice me with an obsidian dagger if they found me. And I would rather the river claim my soul now than let them lay a single hand on me. How long has it been since I've found refuge on this wooden log? Time means nothing here. Only the river's steady pull towards the coast, towards the great blue vastness that means safety. I visualize the sea, the white sails of our fleet, the face of my fellow bearded conquistador brothers, the taste of dry bread. That image is my anchor, the only thing tethering me to life. I whisper a prayer to Santiago, patron of Spain, and shift my weight, wincing as the movement sends a spike of agony through my ribs. The log rolls slightly, and I catch a glimpse of the sky through the canopy. The sun is a smear of white heat. I hear a new sound, not the familiar drone of insects or the shriek of jungle birds, but the rush of water accelerating. A bend, and then, thank the Mother of God, I see it. The river widening, the jungle giving way to low-lying scrub and a marshy delta. I can smell salt, faint but undeniable, carried on a breeze that does not smell of rot and fear. I kick weakly, steering the log toward the left bank, away from the open water. I must reach a place where I can crawl out, hide, and look for a trail. I know the coast is near. If I can just make it to the shore, if I can survive one more hour, perhaps I can avoid becoming another sacrifice for their savage sun god. I am a ghost, a remnant, but I am still breathing, and by the grace of God I will find my comrades or die trying. After what seems an eternity, I finally make it to the bank, and I drag myself ashore. I lie panting on the shore and allow myself a few minutes of much-needed rest, my ears constantly alert for the sound of screeching savages. I tear off a piece of cotton from my shirt and tend to the wound on my thigh. I discover to my alarm that my rapier has been lost during my journey down the river, and a dagger is now my only defense. I look around and see what could be a trail winding its way through the low-lying scrub. I begin to slowly walk towards it when I hear a loud whistle, and my blood turns cold. It is an Aztec war whistle, and it means they have spotted me. I turn around, and to my horror, I see 5 warriors sprinting towards me, their headdresses swaying in the breeze. I draw my dagger and realize how hopeless my plight is now. I am finished now, and all I can wish for is that they kill me now rather than bring me to be sacrificed to their gods by ripping out my still-beating heart. I face them and yell out nothing coherent, just a challenge that I will die as a man, not a dog. They are close now, very close, and they are screaming their war cry, which is truly terrifying. I hear a loud crack followed by another, and I see 2 of the warriors tumble forwards, their bodies not moving afterwards. Those were musket shots, and my heart skips a few beats, realizing I have hope. I then hear the familiar twang of multiple crossbows and see many bolts race towards the savages like angry wasps, killing the remaining 3 instantly. I turn around, and to my astonishment, there is a column of conquistadors coming towards me, their armor blazing in the sun. God has answered my prayers. The realization that I have been saved releases the wave of exhaustion that I have been holding back for so long, and I collapse to the ground and instantly fall into a deep sleep. The last thought that crosses my mind is the pouch that I have secreted in my tunic that contains my share of the treasure we had looted from that heathen temple. Gold Aztec jewelry encrusted with emeralds that would ensure a comfortable life back in Spain for the rest of my days. Thanks for your time. We hope you enjoyed this story. Subscribe for more.